All right. It was a long time ago, but when we were first young marrieds, we had finally arrived and we were so thrilled. We had our first car, we had our first home, we had a couple of children, we both had really good jobs and things were going well. We were so happy. My husband had a hobby. He loved to restore old cars. And it was hurtful for him to sell them, but he knew he was using this to build money for our family. But he would be in love with his cars and call them by name. Well, one day he came storming into the house from the garage where he's working on his car, and he was furious. And he was so angry, he was using expletives, and that's not like him. And I'd seen him more angry on times past, but this was pretty bad. And he stomped right through me, past me, into the bedroom, slammed the door. I thought, oh, I'm going to stay in the reclining chair and just let him cool off. So I thought, I'll give him some time and see what's the matter. And something obviously happened in the garage that he didn't like. And so he takes it personally when his cars don't behave themselves. So anyway, I waited and he didn't come out. And the only thing I heard was like when he hit the dresser with his fist, and then it was silence. And I thought, well, he's probably laying on the bed, he's probably just crying it out or whatever. Finally, little Brucey comes in. He was only 4, barely turned 4. We had 4 very small children. And Bruce was my only son. And I said, Brucey, I knew Ronnie would never do yelling at Bruce. I said, go and see what Daddy's doing. So Bruce goes in, he comes back out, and he says, Mommy, Daddy's on the floor and there's blood and vomit. I said, oh, I got up, I ran in there, and out of me came this horrific, just I don't know what kind of sound it was. And Bruce ran out to the neighbor lady's house, and he was on the floor with blood and vomit. And he didn't respond to my touch. Now, my background is critical care nursing. I know when somebody is dead. But in this case, Ronnie couldn't be dead. And I thought I saw him breathing, he wasn't. But I tried to do CPR, he didn't respond. And I called the paramedics and they came. And they looked at me like, you idiot woman, look, why are you even trying, it's no use. And finally, they took him away, and I just was the end of my life, And so I looked at that and I thought, I got 4 little kids to raise by myself. They're going to need a daddy. Well, I knew that I wasn't interested in any other man. I loved Ronnie. Who can replace him? So I was like, I'll take this one day at a time. So it wasn't more than probably 6 months into it, and everybody was trying to get me married. And I can't tell you how irritating and angry, it just made me so angry. Like, you don't understand, I mean, if you all gave me your husbands on a silver platter, I wouldn't want them. I want my husband, And so it just, it just bothered me so much. And so I just said, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a man, but it's not time. I'm not ready. I'm still grieving. Leave me alone. And what happened then was I was washing dishes, watching out the window at the kids playing, and just minding my own business, doing nothing, just being chilled out, washing dishes. And the Lord Almighty comes and says in my brain, not in my ears, but in my head, word for word, he says, the children need a daddy. And I says, I know they need a daddy. I don't care. I didn't say I don't care, but he knew I was thinking it. And I says, I do care. I says, but it's not time. And see, my friend Gwen, she had been many, she lived across the street. She had many deaths in her family. I had never had a death in my family, even in my extended family. And so Gwen had said to me, don't worry about having to marry so soon. She says, you need time to grieve. She says, normal grief takes at least 2 years. Well, that was such a relief because I thought it was going crazy. And when she said that, so I said to God, I said, I promise that I will marry. I know I need to do this, but you know, I tried to get help with Parents Without Partners because I was a single mom and I needed to talk to moms about how to raise 4 kids when I'm working full time. And all I got was all these men chasing me, and it was just horrible meat market. I wouldn't even send my daughter out there. I just can't go into that meat market. And I said, God, if you want me to marry, you're going to have to throw him into my lap. And then I thought, I said that to God? You know, I was terrified. And so his heavy presence lifts from the room, and I thought, well, I'm still alive, you know. You know, okay, maybe, I don't know, you know. So nothing happened for a long time. And I thought, I guess maybe I get 2 years. So I was happy with that. I went on with my life. Everything was fine. We were progressing. The kids and I were getting over a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden, here he comes again. And he just says 2 words. It's time. And for the life of me, it had been 2 years. I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. And then it dawned on me, oh no. And I run to the calendar, sure enough, to the day, 2 years. Oh, yo. And so I couldn't believe he had me dead to rights, you know. And I said, all right, already, I'll do it. But you're gonna have to throw me in my lap, right? Less than 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. Sure enough. Here is a man asking me out for a date. What am I gonna do? He has me dead to rights, you know? He set it up, and I better do it. I couldn't believe it. I met this man only once. You know, so we go out on this date. The guy's between a rock and a hard place. His wife had divorced him. We thought he was the epitome of, you know, husband and wife in this camping program we were in. And nobody knew they were having a divorce, and their divorce was fine. He had to go on this command performance Christmas party because he was an executive and, you know, he has to have a spouse or somebody. So, you know, he was between a rock and a hard place, yes, but he was going down the roster of our church trying to find a woman who would go out with him. He didn't tell me that till later, but anyway, we went out, and honestly, he was the most ugly person I'd ever seen. And I'm not going to tell you, he was completely different from mine in every respect. And I just thought, really, God, you know, is this what you want from me? And so I thought, well, whatever. And so we went out, and you know what? He had a great personality. We had so much fun, and he was a gentleman. And I thought, wow. And so at the end of the day, that is the man I married. And we had 24 happy years. Well, we weren't all happy. Took a while working things out. But, you know, it worked out great. And the kids finally got to the place where they knew this was their daddy. Not their real daddy, but this was the man who was doing all the daddying for them. And so this whole thing was that the Lord was just giving me this opportunity, and I didn't see it coming, and I didn't know. And you don't have to know everything about how to follow God. You just have to do what he says and know that he's in charge, and it's okay. And you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be religious. You don't, just roll with the punches and let him lead. And if you'll do this, he'll turn it out for your good and his glory, and the best for everybody involved. And that's how it worked out for me. So I hope that this will give you some encouragement about letting God lead you in your life. It's not like you're going to lose your whole life. In fact, he's going to put it back together for you.
Wow. Okay.